Adopting a gluten-free diet seems to be all the rage these days when it comes to improving one's health and wellness. A recent study showed that 25% of Americans have cut gluten out of their diet. And I'm sure that you have heard from friends and family members who have done so that it has helped them to lose weight, improve their acne, or reduce symptoms of their autoimmune condition. So it makes perfect sense that you're asking yourself the question, would going gluten-free help to improve my sleep? So today I am going to examine this question in more detail so you can make a more educated decision whether or not going gluten-free is right for you. So first, let's look at what is gluten. Gluten is a protein that's found in grains such as wheat, rye, and barley. So that means that it's probably in a lot of your favorite foods, including pizza, bread, cookies, and beer. So based on that, you're probably thinking there better be a darn good reason for me to give up gluten. And today I want to give you 2 reasons why you should consider it. So the 2 reasons why you should consider cutting out gluten is number 1, it can improve your gut health. And number 2, it will help to reduce inflammation. So let's look at reason number 1 first. Having a healthy gut is imperative to good sleep. That's because, as it goes without saying, that is where the nutrients from your food are absorbed. And if you have a compromised gut, that can lead to mineral deficiencies, especially magnesium. And magnesium is a key mineral that helps our brain and body to relax while we sleep. Also, the neurotransmitters that help regulate sleep are produced in our gut, such as GABA and serotonin. 95% of serotonin is produced in our stomachs, and serotonin is the feel-good hormone. So the more serotonin you have in your body, the less likely you're going to be to feel depressed and anxious. And in addition, serotonin is the precursor to melatonin, the sleepy hormone. And then last but not least, there is a gut-brain connection. There is a cord called the vagus nerve that runs from our stomachs to our brain. And when our gut is compromised, that tells our brain that there's danger. And what happens then is it triggers the fight or flight state, the sympathetic autonomic nervous system, which when we're in this state, our body's producing cortisol, the alert hormone, to help protect us from danger. And as it goes without saying, the more cortisol you have in your system, the more alert you're going to be, and the harder it's going to be to sleep. And as I mentioned before, your adrenals, which are the glands that produce cortisol, can only take so much. One way consuming gluten can impair gut function is by increasing the permeability, leading to leaky gut. A study by Italian physician Dr. Fasano showed that gluten increased the protein zonulin. And what zonulin does is it helps to regulate the tight junctions of our mucosal barrier. Our mucosal barrier protects our bloodstream from the contents of our stomachs, and it's only 1 cell thick. And when there's a pathogen in our stomach, what happens is our body releases zonulin to spread apart the junctions between the cells so that immune components can enter the gut lumen and destroy the pathogen. So Dr. Fasano's research showed that by consuming gluten, this process took place. Our body produced zonulin so that immune components can enter the gut lumen and destroy the gluten. So in theory, if you are consuming gluten regularly, those tight junctions are going to remain open, and as a result, more toxins, bigger food particles, and pathogens can then enter your bloodstream. And when these intruders enter our bloodstream, it triggers the immune response, and as a result, our body becomes inflamed. And whenever your body becomes inflamed, your body then produces cortisol. It's an anti-inflammatory, And it's also, as I talked about before, the alert hormone. So the more cortisol you have in your system, the harder it's going to be to sleep. And if you're constantly consuming gluten and your body has this response, it produces zonulin, then your tight junctions are going to spread. You have intruders in your bloodstream, tons of inflammation, tons of cortisol. It could lead to HPA axis dysfunction. So if you're wondering what that is, check out my past video about HPA dysfunction and sleep. So just as a summary, what happens is that the HPA axis, which is responsible for the production of cortisol, can only handle so much demand, where if it is overworked, it becomes dysfunctional. And as a result, your body produces suboptimal levels of cortisol, which actually can lead to even more sleep issues because your body then will produce adrenaline to help with the fatigue. So like anything that has to do with the human body, our response to gluten is going to vary. It's very individualized. And in order to determine if you are sensitive to gluten, there are a few tests you can take to see if you are. For example, the Weed-Zoomer. You can also take a food sensitivity test. And in addition, the GI map, which I run for all of my clients, does pick up an antibody for gluten sensitivity. And it's something you can experiment with by eliminating gluten from your diet for 4 to 6 weeks. And who knows, you may see a huge impact on your health. And if you do, you're likely then going to be motivated to give it up for good. But if you don't, then you can reintroduce it into your body and see if you notice a negative effect. If you're now inspired to give the gluten-free diet a try, I would recommend heading to the Celiac Foundation website. They offer a guide that lists all the grains that contain gluten, as well as some helpful tips on going gluten-free. And if you're interested in getting one-on-one help to determine if gluten is one of the hidden stressors that is leading to your sleep issues, you can schedule a complimentary discovery call with me on my website, Kelly Murray Adult Sleep.